Alright, so this has been my pretty daily routine I've been doing. I've just been focusing on two things: hips and lats. Making sure that whenever we're stretching our hips out, we're getting low. I like to do like a 45-degree angle on both feet, not straight forward, not straight to the side, somewhere in the middle. Nice little sumo stance, being here. Kind of sticking the body at an angle, slight 45-degree, making sure we're not overarching the low back, right? Keeping that core engaged, squeezing the glutes. Then in that stance, just make your feet a little wider. I want to slowly go a little wider, work the hamstrings just a little bit, and then come back in just a little bit. Now lean to the right side, squeeze the glutes, try to stay upright. Lean to the left side. We're going like 5 to 8 seconds. Holding, bouncing a little bit. Then we're going to come back to center with our feet. Alright. I want to kind of curl my body downwards. Chin down, tucking into the chest. Rolling my lower lumbar, trying to get like each vertebrae. But as I do this, everyone's hips are uneven. So we want to make sure we kind of roll our hips back and forth as we're kind of rolling down our body a little bit. And just working your way down, stretching side to side. As I do this, I twist my hips left and I twist my hips right away from my upper body. And as I'm kind of doing that shift, I'm feeling a nice little stretch as I pull my right shoulder down and I pull my right hip up. Stretches and pulls my left side of my lower back away. Stretches it. I'm going to do the exact opposite on the other side. Kind of working those hips a little bit. Roll back up. You want to roll back up with a nice caved in chest. If your chest is out, it's going to put a lot of pressure in your spine. This is called the Jefferson curl. Jefferson curl is making sure your lumbar is completely rolling, moving, giving it that motion as lotion, Trying to really use it. Really tucking the hips forward and caving the chest in as you slide down that body ever so slightly. We're trying to reach past your toes, trying to get palms to floor, and sliding right back up, tucking your hips underneath you, forward, caving in your chest, still caving in your chest, tucking my chin until I get all the way up and shoulders come back. Shoulders come back. And then on top of that, right, if I really want to get my lats stretched out, there's one thing I want to focus on, and it's going to really help unlock my lower back down in this QL area, that quadratus labrum, where you're having that SI joint pain, down in here. Because the thing is, if your hamstrings are tight, it pulls your hips into this position. But then also, if your lats get too tight, they're connected all the way down to that hip. So they pull the hips further into this anterior pelvic tilt, causing more pressure as well. So we have to loosen both sides. And this has been a big focus of mine as I've been growing in my upper body. The more lats we work and the more glutes and legs that we're hitting, because we're smashing upper and lower body all the time. The maintenance becomes so much just as important, right? So we have that right elbow. I'm going to go right hand behind my back. Grab the left elbow. Feet beside you. Bend the knees a little bit. And then we're just going to slightly take a nice deep breath to where you feel the first point of tension. Stretching deep in the lat but then also allowing that lower lumbar to mobilize by holding that elbow. Squeeze the core as you breathe out, and then come up. Crunch your core down in here. My goal is to get my hip and my upper shoulder to separate as much as I can so I can then contract it. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to drive down, breathe out on the way up, squeezing the lat and the core, the whole oblique. I'm going to feel that lower back also stretch ever so slightly. I like to push my hip, this hip, down and away as I drive my elbow here. Gets a deeper stretch a little bit as my hips go and pull into it. And then I'm squeezing and breathing. Trying to get to like 10 of these. And do the other side. Here. And these. Driving the hips that way as I pull left. Squeeze that core on the way up. Trying to be a little quick on the way up. But smooth. And squeeze. Crunch it. Stretch it away. Breathe out. Squeeze. Crunch it. This has been a big focal point for me because I'm still getting told I need surgery as of a couple weeks ago for my lower lumbar. But hey, here we are. All right. Now, along with that, the hamstrings. Right? We did the lat stretch that I want. We've gotten deep into the groin a little bit, splitting the legs apart in a nice sumo stance, leaning side to side, trying to mobilize our spine and lubricate a little bit. Neck all the way down, also getting into the hamstrings on that Jefferson curl. But now I really want to do a runner's stance, right? This runner's stance, I'm going to start off with the feet side by side, kind of shoulder width, right? Just a little bit, maybe on the inside of our shoulders, just like this. Very simply, you're going to put your hands on the floor, bend the knees, butt goes down, and I want you to try to extend your hamstrings to where you start to shake. Come down and come back up, trying to put all this tension into the hamstrings. Straighten the spine, relax it. Bend the knee, extend the knee, but keeping the upper body where it is until you feel that big stretch in that hamstring. Trying to straighten that leg out a little more each time with your feet exactly where they are, right? Just bending that knee a little bit. Feeling those hamstrings really get a nice stretch each time you extend. Maybe a little shaking in there if you really push it a little bit, but be careful, you know. You want to ease your way into this. It's not something you want to just force, you know. Really got to take your time and try to work it. And once you do your feet completely side by side a couple times, I want to do one side with one foot forward slightly, staggered, just like this, right? So right here, I want you to try to send your left hip back so it straightens your leg, and then try to touch the floor. Come back up. It's maybe a lot of pressure, right? Trying to use that glute. Trying to send that hamstring and that hip back. Oh. But once you do that a couple times, then bend down again, just like we were, and extend. Down, send the hip back and extend. Just a couple different ways to try and utilize that hamstring and get it to loosen up a little bit by working those big old ligaments, sliding them back and forth. Oh. A little pop right there in that hip. I feel good. Oh yeah, right on the SI joint actually. Stagger the other side, right? Touch the floor, come up. Stagger in that stance. Just like the other side, sending that hip back and come up through that glute. Not really bracing the core too much on these. I'm trying to actually focus more on just targeting my hamstring and my glute right now. Right? Kind of relaxing my upper body a little bit, trying to touch the floor and trying to really put a load into that hamstring, right? Because you can really isolate where you put pressure in your body once you get really good at holding posture. So I'm kind of locking my upper body while I'm moving my lower body. And you can kind of isolate where you want the tension, where you want to focus on stretching out a little bit. And once we've done those, right, up and downs, trying to send that hip back, back, back. Trying to put less pressure on your left back foot and more on the front, right? Send that hip back, loads up that hamstring at the top of it. Really working that hip and that glute, stretching it all out. And every time you extend that knee, try to straighten that knee out. And down, coming up. Boom. Yeah, at this point, should be feeling pretty good. If we want to focus on anything besides that, if there was anything I would say, it would be the rotation of the spine. Our T-spine rotation is everything. You know, being able to actually isolate rotating upper body, not moving our lower body. A lot of people turn with their hips, right? But the T-spine rotation I'm talking about is not using your lower body with your upper body, because it's not mobilizing our lower lumbar. Mobilizing your lower lumbar, rotating without moving your lower body. That's the difference. How far are we able to go, you know? If I'm in this position and I don't move my lower body, I can almost get to about a 90-degree angle to the complete left, right? Pushing 80 to 90-degree angle straight out to my side. All right. But now if I go to my right side, trying not to use my lower body, not to twist with it. Ooh, I'm like 75, 80, 90. But at first you're going to be tight, you know. We can also do this by sitting down in a chair. Maybe a little easier that way at first. But if you want to be able to focus on it, come to the edge of the chair, right? Making sure that whenever we're here, we have good posture. That chest is up, shoulders are down, right? Arms straight out in front of you. I like to turn and breathe out and squeeze my core hard as I can. And then try to twist one more time and come back to center. Because we're contracting, squeezing, using the muscles, trying to lengthen them, and then pushing it a little bit more. If you do it good enough, you just might feel it almost cramp. You get to see how stupid my hair looks right now. Pretty stupid. Twist, squeeze and hold, breathe the air out, and then twist one more time, push more air. Trying to go further, right? And actually each time you do that, it's funny because you'll get like 10% further every time you push it like that. Go here as far as I can get, and then watch. I can go 10% further whenever I push it to this extent. Twisting, breathing a little bit further. But only because I'm working it, You know, if you don't use it, you lose it. And how often are we actually going through this type of full rotation too? You know, there's a couple different planes of motion that we did today. And focusing on lubricating our spine with that Jefferson curl, but really trying to focus on isolating your rotation in your lower lumbar. Make sure that stays lubricated in this plane of motion, as well as this plane of motion. Then you have the track runner stances. That puts you in a different range of motion as well to be stretching out through that lower back, the quadratus laborum, where you have your SI joint pain.